Hello friends and welcome to Tutorials Point. Well, this module which we are going to start with this video is going to involve and inculcate all the information or all the things which you need to know in order to communicate effectively, right? So in this module we will learn what is actually communication, what are the prerequisites of communication, and how can we actually use communication in our day-to-day life, and the importance, right? What is the the importance of communication? Why do we actually need to be a good communicator, right? So communication is a very, very important part of our life, right? So without communication, we humans cannot survive, right? So it is that important. It is as important as the air that we breathe or the food that we eat, right? So let's get started with this module. Let's get the ball rolling and let us learn, let us see actually what is communication. And precisely in this video we will understand the very basics of communication as to what is actually communication, and where does it all start from, or what is it that is needed to be actually a good communicator, right? So let's get started. So first of all, let us first understand what is the meaning of communication. So is communication just about speaking English? Not really, right? So what is the meaning of communication? So communication actually comes from this word commune, right? Which means to connect, right? So communication does not actually mean that you probably go on speaking an exotic English, throwing or spilling amazing and ornamental vocabulary all around, whereas communication actually means to form a connect, right? So it is only through that connect that you can actually probably forge a bond of trust. So it is not only about displaying or showing off your English or your vocabulary, but it is all about connecting with the people with whom you are communicating, right? So let's go ahead and see as to what are the basics of the very, very basics of communication. Let's go ahead. Okay, so first of all, let's first actually understand as to why is it that we need to communicate. So first let's think on why do we feel the need for communication. Why is it that we why is it that we want to communicate? It could be because we might want to express any idea which we have in our mind, or there's some information which we are looking for, or maybe there's something, some feeling, some very, very strong feeling which we want to express, right? Or maybe we are probably frustrated, we are completely so bored and so done with the day, so pissed off, and we just want to vent it out, we just want to let it open in front of probably someone who is maybe a good friend, a colleague, or anyone, right, for that matter. So that is why actually if you understand, if you know as to what is the root cause, why is it that we want to communicate, if you actually give it a deep thought, it is then that you will be able to be a very, very good communicator, right? Because it won't be always about you saying something, right? There could be situations wherein maybe people are expecting you to probably listen to them, right? Or to probably they are maybe looking forward to you as a solution, right? So in that case, how are you going to use your communication skills? So unless you probably introspect within yourself as to what is it that actually as a person you are thinking, or what is it as a person that you need, which makes you to feel the need to communicate, it is only then that you can actually help someone out who is looking forward to communicate with you, right? And we all know that without communication, do you think we can survive? Definitely not. Any toughest situation, it is only and only through a good communication that you can crack it down, right? So that is the importance of communication. So first think, understand, because actually we all human, all the humans actually, their brains work at the same frequency, right? Just that the situations would be different, which would probably mold us to thinking in different ways. But essentially there are certain basic things which we all human desire for, right, which all the human beings desire for. So if you probably desire a particular thing, you can just, it'll become very easy for you to gauge and understand what is it that the person right in front of you is expecting of you in any particular situation, right? Because at some point in time you were in that situation and you were expecting a particular kind of an answer, or maybe you were expecting to be handled in a particular way, right? So which is why, and now that you can actually transition from you being there to you being the person who is being, you're being looked at, right? And you are being, you are actually the one who is expected, a lot is expected of you. So until and unless you are able to analyze as to why is it that we feel the need to communicate, it is only then that you'll be able to handle different people who are looking at you or are looking forward to you for a solution, right? So that is the importance of actually delving deep inside, a lot of self introspection which you need to be a good communicator. Because it's not just, let me tell you one thing, communication is not just about you superficially saying something, right? Because if you are very, very superficial, if you do not feel anything that you are saying, definitely you cannot connect. Definitely people won't be able to connect with you, because as I already told you, it is not something superficial, that you're going to show off and you feel that superficially you can impress. Yes, you might end up impressing someone superficially, but that deeper bond of trust and that connect will not happen until and unless you actually feel what you are saying, no matter how decorated, how well polished, how well glossed it is, right? So that is the importance of actually understanding as to what is the need for communication, right? So this is the very basic, this is the start point of communication, right? So first understand what is the need for communication, and then from there we'll slowly step up and discover various ways which we can actually various ways in which we can think to probably improve our communication, right? Let's go ahead. Okay, then, so now that you know, right, so let's prioritize about when and where and what is the importance of communication in a particular situation. So in any particular situation, right, now that you've understood, now that you know, because you have very deeply introspected yourself, and now you know that what is it that probably, if I am thinking a particular way, most human beings, we all think alike, right? So now that you know as to why do you want to communicate, now when you are in any real life situation, wherein you are probably in a group or amongst different people, now you can actually prioritize whether you need to express or to say something here or not, right? Because now you're sure, now you know as to what is it that probably people right in front of you would be expecting of you, right? Because you studied yourself so deeply, right? So once you know what is the need to communicate, then you need to prioritize as to what do you need to speak, where do you need to speak, and how much do you need to speak. Because it's not just about you going on and on and on, non-stop. It is more about the weight in the words that you carry. It is not about the quantity, right? So that can happen only if you are actually, you observe yourself very, very deeply, right? So then once you know what is the need to communicate, then you need to prioritize. And once you prioritize, the importance of probably what needs to be spoken where, it is then that you will be able to make very, very appropriate comments, or whatever you will say will carry a lot of weight and will actually be very, very appropriate according to the situation that you are in, right? Okay. Now once that you know, now you've decided, okay, this is how much probably I need to communicate, or how much probably I need to express my opinion or speak in a particular situation, then you can actually decide the mode of communication which you want to opt for, right? So now let's decide what mode of communication do you want to opt for, right? So how is it that you want to convey on your message? So sometimes actually less is more, that is right. So if you are actually a good communicator, as I already told you, it is not the quantity which you would be looking forward to, rather it is the quality. So it's not that you speak volumes or you speak in bulk, but what you speak, maybe it's very less, but it has a greater impact, right? And that can happen only if you actually know what to speak where, right? So of course, once you know that, you can choose the mode of communication. Let us assume you're at your workplace, right? And now that you are at a post wherein you have to do some decision making, and now whatever decision that you have taken, it needs to be put to use. So how are you going to communicate that, right? So for that to happen, you need to probably choose a mode, whatever mode you want to choose. Maybe it could be through a mail, or it could be through calling out a meeting, or it could be through a message, or any media that you feel according to the situation that you are in, it should fit in that particular situation, the mode which you are using to communicate your message, right? So, communication is all about these small petty things. It's not something, very, very humongous and huge and flamboyant. Rather, it's about these small things, which can happen, or which you can understand only through observation. So keep on observing your own mind as to what it thinks during different situations. Once you observe your own mind, you can definitely connect with people and understand as to what they expect out of you in different situations, right? So then you can obviously choose the mode of communication, because all these things matter, right? So for you to create that bond, all of these things matter. Unnecessarily, you definitely need not to probably waste your time and energy in saying or doing something which would not be as productive, right? So you choose your mode of communication appropriately according to the situation that you are in. Okay, now another very, very, very important aspect of communication is that you need to clear your mind of any prejudgments, right? To understand and forge a fresh communication with whomsoever you intend to. So if there are already so many prejudgments, notions, opinions, everything set in your mind, let me tell you, my dear, it will be very tough to communicate with you, because in that case, your mindset is fixated, right? You have a particular opinion and you're going to eye everyone and everything through that. So if your mind is clear, if it's completely free, it is then that you can actually forge that bond. So, this word is very simple to say. Or it is very, very simple to say that, clear it of any prejudgments, but as tough it is to actually apply. But if you do that, let me tell you, my dear friends, life definitely becomes easy, because now your mind is free of any judgments, is free of any conclusions, of any opinions, and definitely it only carries all the material, and it only carries those things which are important for you, because now you don't have that load, that excess load of judgments and all, right? So if you want to be a good communicator, this is again a very, very basic thing, that you have to free your mind of any prejudgments. Otherwise, if anyone would come and talk to you, you're just going to view that conversation within that mind frame which is already there. If you do not break that free, definitely you cannot forge that bond. Okay, now self-reflect on how you behave in different situations. This helps to understand how different people behave in different situations, and as I already told you, because that essentially we all human beings, our basics are almost the same. We all love acceptance, we all love appreciation, we all love not to be judged, right? We all love to be accepted the way we are, right? So if you actually self-reflect on yourself, as I already told you, if you keep on observing your own behavior in different situations, it is then that you will very easily be able to relate to the people around you and act appropriately, right? So all of that starts from within. It's not on the outside. All of that starts from within. So if you observe yourself, if you know yourself deep inside, because there's a lot which you can understand, which you might even be surprised. Once you start to dig deep inside, you might be even surprised, oh my God, was this what I used to think? Or is this how I am? Or are these my, are these my virtues? Are these my features? Are these my qualities? Right? So you will be even surprised, because that is the amount of potential that we carry, right? So if instead of focusing or wasting all your time outside, if you focus on yourself, definitely you can grow a lot, because a lot is inside compared to what is outside. So you need to self-reflect on yourself if you want to understand the situations and people around you, right? That is very, very important, which is why I said communication is not something that I can just give you tips and tricks. If you want that, please go ahead. You'll find tens of thousands of tips and tricks throughout if you just go and surf your net. But the real life things, these small things which you can actually apply in your real life, you can only understand them. I mean, these are the only basic things which you can apply in your real life, because it's not about just superficially giving you some tips and tricks and you can just overnight you can become some great communicator. No, that doesn't happen. All of it starts from within. It is not an overnight process. It is a long process of self-introspection which is needed to be a good communicator, right? Okay, so last but not the least, do not forget, this is actually the essence of communication, that communication is about connecting. It is not just about speaking, right? So if there's probably a particular group of people amongst whom I'm supposed to address them, and if I'm not able to match their frequency, if I'm probably way too above or way too below their frequency, no, that won't be communication. That would probably just be a show off, right? If I just spill around ornamental vocabulary just to sound very, very exotic, very, very learned, very, very, informed and very intelligent, then that would just be limited to a show off. That won't be communication. If I actually want to communicate, we need to match our level and frequency, because it's not about speaking, it is about connecting, right? And you can connect with only those people who are at your level, not above or below your level, right? So it is very, very important. Please get this thing clear while we forge ahead in this module and while we forge ahead on this journey of communication. Get this thing very clear. It is not just about English, you learning English and spilling it around. No, it is more about understanding the people who are in front of you and the situations which are there, right? Only then can you connect. So friends, this was just the start of communication. We will see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with Tutorials Point and Tutorix. Have a good day.